love jam, but sweet and hot. Whoop, Mr. Motorama pumpkin spot.
Welcome to Fueled by Death Show. Hey, it's not just a podcast anymore. Get ready, the show's about to begin.
Welcome, everybody. We're back yet again for another Fueled by Death Show.
And you thought you got rid of us.
Never! This is the companion to episode 111 of the podcast, and we'll get to what that all means a little bit later in the show. But let me kick it off by saying I am the Incredible Jeff.
And I am... What am I? Oh, shit. I'm the Amazing D-Man.
That's the one you are.
I almost said the
remembered.
Incredible D-Man. What is wrong with me?
You can be the Incredible D-Man.
Nah,
Okay, you're the Amazing D-Man. I like it. If this is your first time joining the show, here's what we like to do. Every single show, if you're watching us live on Wednesday night on Facebook, we like to give away something cool. This week, we're giving away the 2019 Lumberjack Death Wish mug. These are back in stock, so we're celebrating by giving one away for free on the show tonight. All you got to do is share this show and then drop a comment in those comments. Join the conversation. One lucky comment will be picked after the show is over, and you will win this mug. D-Man and myself will sign the bottom and send it right out to you. It's that easy. Could not be easier.
I love how jet black this mug is.
Me too.
It is.
And I
just
love
great.
I just love the style of it. You know, I think there's a place for all the different styles of mugs. You know, the big tankards, and I was drinking out of the Undying Love mug this weekend. Actually,
It's a big one,
and it's a big one. But I enjoyed it because I don't usually drink out of the big ones, and I was like, oh, this is something different. But then like the smaller mugs, like I guess in this kind of style, is like I like those because it's like a
Pepin mug.
Yeah, a little Pepin mug, and that's like in the middle.
Yeah,
like you get like 16 ounces of deliciousness in there. It's awesome. So
I like the standard shape that it is.
Yeah.
It's simple. The glaze is simple, but beautifully executed.
Yeah, go Deneen Pottery yet again. That's why we love them. And speaking of love, we'd love it if you showed us some love on social media. It's really easy to do. I am at Jeff Wish Coffee.
And I am at Death Wish Dustin.
And you can follow everything we do here on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter at Fueled by Deathcast. Find us on your favorite social media platform, and please interact, share, like, comment. Let us know what you think. We're just trying to grow an incredible Fueled by Death community here, and that's what we're trying to do.
Well, no matter what, it'll be entertaining. Jeff, you're doing an incredible job on that Instagram page.
Thank you very much. And speaking of social media, if you're not utilizing social media to follow our one true God, Christian Slater, I don't know what's wrong with you. He's not a god, but I mean, to us he is. I'm sorry, D-Man, he is. He is.
Blasphemer!
At Real Christian Slater on Instagram, Christian Slater on Twitter. He posts sporadically, but here on this show, we like to talk about his career and how amazing his career is. In the last couple weeks, we have been running down some of our favorite movies and television shows, and this week, I got an oldie but a goodie.
It's a good one.
Very Bad Things. Any fans of that out there, you guys? I recently rewatched this and forgot just how fucked up this movie is.
Yeah, it's pretty twisted.
Holy crap.
I never look at coat hangers the same way after that.
Oh, my God. So, here's the shortest clip I can play without getting in trouble. Here you go.
A slip, and she's dead. There are always options. It's a 105-pound problem. Can't do this. We've already done this.
So I recently, like I said, I recently rewatched this movie, and I remembered like the premise. The premise is that Jon Favreau is getting married to Cameron Diaz, and Jon Favreau and his buddies are getting out of Dodge for a bachelor party. It's literally the premise of The Hangover before The Hangover, but way more screwed up.
Yeah, way more killing.
Yeah, and shit goes down. They get a prostitute, and that prostitute unfortunately dies. Fun fact, her name is Kobe Tai, very famous porn actress.
Oh.
So then there is a bunch of craziness that happens after when they have to figure out what to do with this dead prostitute in their Vegas hotel room. And it devolves into finding out the movie really is a testament on how psychotic Christian Slater can actually become
For real.
in a movie role, because you meet him in the beginning, you're like, it's normal Christian Slater, and by the end of the movie, you're like, holy shit, don't leave me in a room alone with Christian Slater.
Psychopath.
Yeah, but it's awesome. I mean, it's all acting. It's great. If you haven't seen this movie, it is available. I forget what I watched it on. It was either HBO or Amazon. It was one of those. But it's on one of but I'm sure you can find it anywhere. Very Bad Things, 1998, 99.
Holds up.
Around there. Yeah, it totally holds up. And again, it's such a dichotomy to Hangover, because Hangover is like bad stuff happens, but it's more
But it's
hilarious.
like goofy and slapstick.
Yeah.
This is like
This
dark
is like,
and
man,
demented.
murder,
It's- yeah.
murder. It's like, oh my God.
Also, fun fact about The Hangover, it did not have Christian Slater in it.
It's true.
So why would you want to watch it?
Misstep on a movie right there.
Huge misstep. What are you doing?
I don't understand it. You know, as big of a Star Wars fan as I am, you know, no Christian Slater in Star Wars.
He should have been in Star Wars.
Should have been in Star. He should have been Yoda. No, we're getting too far. We're getting too far.
He should have been young Obi-Wan.
It's true. It's true. It could still happen. They're gonna make another Obi-Wan movie.
Oh,
so
Jesus, stop.
could still happen. Anyway, let's get off of that. Let's talk about our good friend Brock Powell.
BrockVox.com.
He is the voice of death. The voice actor on this show and 1,000 voices out there in the world. Go follow him at BrockVox across all social media. And if you do, you get gems like this. We talk about how he's been working on some amazing projects and some cool stuff throughout the last year and into this year. And he's on this show, which we've mentioned a couple times on the Disney Channel, called Milo Murphy's Law. It's Weird Al's show, and Brock gets to play a lot of crazy auxiliary characters. He's not one of the main characters. I think that's more fun.
Yeah.
Like, maybe not.
Well,
maybe not in a paycheck.
Also,
way.
Also, you have to be kind of more talented because you have to be 15 different people instead of that one same person every time.
Yeah. So I have a really short clip that he posted on Instagram this week of him playing this crazy Canadian supervillain, and you just got to see it.
Good day, Agent G. While you're trying to escape my fast-hardening maple syrup, you have to be asking yourself, how's my sworn enemy, Dr. Not Sorry? Greatest Canadian evil scientist ever, still alive, eh? I mean, I, blew up this Maple Tree Mountain Fortress, eh? Well, guess what? My plaid lab coat doesn't just look good. It's explosion-proof, eh? Hey, ain't it a beauty? Okay, time to end this, eh? I know I'm rushing this, but like any evil Canadian, I'm not polite. Oh, there, that was my favorite. Oh, okay, now you've done it, eh? Oh, it's go time now. Not sorry. Not sorry. Not sorry. Not sorry about that one.
Oh, man, I love Brock to death. It's so great to just see him just flexing his muscles like that. And like I said, follow him at BrockVox, and you can see all sorts of cool stuff as he posts it. Finally, guys, stick around. We got a great show ahead. You're going to meet this week's podcast guest artist, Rob Pryor. We got a couple sneak peeks in this show for episode 111. You're not going to want to miss that. We have your first look at some new merchandise and a new thing for Death Wish Coffee, something that might just be able to travel the country.
It's a coffee truck.
We'll get there. We'll get there on the update. We're going to roast the upcoming holiday. Groundhog Day is this weekend, so that's on the roast. And we got some fun science, including some updates from SpaceX on our science segment next.
Secret code unlocked. Discount of death.
Do you guys know by now?
Yeah,
Do
you
they
guys,
know?
you have to know. Discount of Jeff. Deathwishcoffee.com.
The discount code that you can use every single week for 12% off is discount of death, all one word, on deathwishcoffee.com. That's 12% off of every single purchase you use. But by a slip of a tongue on a previous episode, we did say discount of Jeff, and you made that into a discount code.
I see you three people that actually use that code.
So we have a war now between discount of death and discount of Jeff. Pick which one you'd rather use and use that for 12% off on deathwishcoffee.com.
And we got a lot of cool things going on the page you can use that
Holy
for. We got a
crow, do we
lot
have
of
a lot of
mugs.
cool.
We got a lot of mugs coming. We have a lot. We have the hooks. We have. I mean, the chocolate might not be around. Or
No, it's
Yeah.
but we're doing more with that this year. We're doing some surprises. I was told by
there's still kettles left.
Yeah, I was told by some of the merchandise that we're doing, like for summer and fall this year, blew my mind. And you know what? Discounted deaf. Deaf? Discounted.
Gotta make another one.
Not gonna make another one. Discounted deaf will work. 12% off all year round. Every single purchase you guys want to make. 12% off. What are you waiting for? Deathwishcoffee.com. Get there.
Science!
Okay, D-Man. So science this week, I got two stories. One's real quick. I wanted to bring this up because of the photo that was taken. It's a new image of the Messier 61 galaxy. And again, if you're only listening to this on our podcast, on the science mini episodes that come out every Sunday, these photos you can find right on the Fueled by Deathcast Facebook page. But here's a brand new photo. This was taken by ESO's VLT telescope, which now I love these science nerds. The name of this telescope is the Very Large Telescope at the Paranal Observatory in Chile. And it captured this amazing photo. Now, this galaxy, Messier 61, is 52.5 million light years away, and it has an apparent magnitude of 10.2, which is roughly the size of our own Milky Way galaxy. And during the month of May, you can actually see this galaxy with a small personal telescope.
Wow.
Not in this quality,
Yeah, obviously.
but you definitely can
You would need
can
a
make it
very
out.
large telescope in order to
Yes.
see it like this.
Yes, it was first discovered on May 5th, 1779 by Italian astronomer Barnaba Orani, but Orani mistook the galaxy as a passing comet, and the same night, French astronomer Charles Messier noticed it and therefore got his name and not the other astronomer's name. The cutthroat world of astronomy.
Did Orani tell Messier about this, and he looked deeper and was like, "I get
No,
credit,"
I think
or
Messier
just-
knew it was a galaxy, but Orani just mislabeled it and was like, "Oh, rats,
Huh.
sacre bleu." I don't know, but I thought it was cool because it's a gorgeous photo of this spiral galaxy. It's actually considered a starburst galaxy, much like our own Milky Way galaxy is. The other thing that came up this week I thought was really great is SpaceX tested its Falcon 9 ahead of a scheduled Crew Dragon launch this year. Now, this is history in the making, people. We have not had a crew leave American soil to go to space since we retired the space shuttle in 2011, I think it was, 2010.
Have we ever done it with a privatized vessel?
Never.
So this is a lot of firsts.
This is a lot of firsts. So during a test on January 24th, SpaceX fired up the engines on one of its Falcon 9 rockets, which is the vehicle that will perform the crucial test flight for the NASA in months ahead. It's the rocket that's going to carry the SpaceX Crew module. It's the Crew Dragon. Now, the Dragon capsule, if you remember, is the same capsule that's rocketed our coffee into space to the International Space Station. It's also the same capsule that brings supplies to the space station, but also satellites into low Earth orbit and back.
Okay.
And we've been using that pretty regularly since 2012. But this is the first time we're actually going to have a crew-manned spacecraft. Now, the launch in February is going to be unmanned just to prove that this capsule will do all the things it's supposed to do, and then we can get it back down and then, try it without people first. And then we'll try it with people. I do have a video. I have a couple videos to show you, but first I got a video of the rocket test launch right here. So everything went according to plan. Not only do they need to test the rocket, but they needed to test it with the capsule on top, and then you could see also too the walkway going through there, where the astronauts will eventually walk into the capsule from there. Make sure that nothing's wrong, nothing's crazy.
Yeah.
For the last 5 years, SpaceX and aerospace competitor Boeing actually have been developing spacecraft for NASA to transport humans to the ISS and also to just to space and back. Boeing is working on something called the CST-100 Starliner, whereas SpaceX has been working on the Crew Dragon. Now, the Dragon capsule was always created to be a crew unit. They just modified it not to be crew in the interim because they were like, we need to get supplies to this International Space Station. Let's just use it like that. This year, both companies are hoping to launch the inaugural missions of this program, known as Commercial Crew. And they actually talked about that when I went down to Cape Canaveral in June of last year when our coffee got up there. Each is tasked with performing unmanned flights first. Again, safety first. And hopefully, we're going to get manned flights within this year.
You got to think, it's not only human lives that are at risk here if something goes wrong. It's the smartest people, the most competent, important people in the world.
Right.
You don't want to risk them.
We just
if it were me and Jeff, just launch that shit. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah. We just went through 2 actual anniversaries, and I'm not going to say the years because I forget the amount of years. But we just passed the anniversary of Apollo 1, where unfortunately we lost those 3 astronauts in that horrific fire. But they paved the way for us landing on the moon, even though they never died in vain. And then just recently we and this I do know, it was 33 years ago, we lost all of the souls on the Challenger explosion. Again, even though they died, they paved the way for a better space shuttle up until we took it away, and we're still using that today with what we're developing in SpaceX and with NASA and with Boeing and this kind of stuff. The Falcon 9 is an incredible rocket. It was designed for maximum reliability. Back in the day with the Atlas and the Saturn rockets, it was about multi-stages of rockets, you'd have the full rocket and then this piece would come off and then this piece would come off and then this piece would come off. This is just 2 stages. There are 9 rockets at the bottom of a Falcon, and that rockets it up through most of the atmosphere, and then it breaks off into another stage, the second stage, which is a main general rocket, and then there is a third separation. That third separation is the Dragon capsule actually leaving. And it made history in 2012 when it delivered the Dragon into the correct orbit for rendezvous with the International Space Station, making SpaceX the first commercial company ever to visit the station.
And that was when our dude,
Don Pettit actually caught it with the Canadian arm and brought it in for the first time ever.
So cool.
If you go back to the episode where we had astronaut Don Pettit on our show, he was talking about how he trained and trained and trained for that, while also working out a lot of yo-yo tricks at as well. And he was worried that it was going to be this bucking bronco because it was not a NASA-regulated thing, and it was smooth sailing, which is really, really cool.
I love how connected we are to all this.
I know. It's really
we're
awesome.
Part of this storyline in history, and it's really amazing.
It really, really
all this
is.
stuff fascinates me.
So the Falcon 9 has been, like I said, delivering supplies and satellites since 2012. Now in February, we're going to test unmanned Dragon crew, and then hopefully in April, that first crew is going into space, going to the space station on that Dragon crew. And speaking of the Falcon 9, I have another video to show you guys just how incredible this rocket actually is.
It really is a completely amazing what the technology leaps we've had in the last 5 years, and especially because of guys like Elon Musk and SpaceX and Boeing
and Jim Bridenstine, the head of NASA. There, it goes to show, again, bringing up Don Pettit, when we were talking to an active NASA astronaut, it goes to show just how everybody is on board to work together. We weren't alive when we were landing on the moon, but that was mired in the Cold War, and it was about USA and Russia and who can get there first and who's going to not, and it was all this competitive, which the competitive nature definitely pushed everything, but it wasn't about this camaraderie. And we've talked about this on earlier episodes even. We just landed on the dark side of the moon, China did, but it was a world effort. Sweden, Germany, all these people came together to make that thing happen. And we're doing the same now with SpaceX, with Boeing, with Blue, with all this kind of stuff. So it's very, very cool.
Which gives me hope.
Yes.
I mean, that is really not only is that great to see the human race working that way, but there may be a day, not so far in our future, where we will need this technology to survive.
Of course.
And it would be horrible to look back on days like today and go, why didn't we just work together?
Right. And we're only gonna become an interplanetary society if we do work together. And it's really cool to see how space exploration is, just growing every single day. It's amazing. And what's really neat is this Crew Dragon capsule. So like I said before, they would have to go down this walkway to get into the capsule, like in Armageddon, or like whatever. You always think of
slow
those,
motion
or
with Aerosmith playing.
The Right Stuff. That movie, and
I don't think I've seen that.
Oh, it's older, but yeah, same kind of thing. They walk down the long hallway to get to the awesomeness.
Holding
the
the
awesome
helmet
adventure.
in one arm.
Yep.
And
Slow motion explosions behind them. No explosions.
No, the shimmering air behind them.
Yeah, totally. So Crew Dragon was actually designed to be an enjoyable ride. Now, if you look back to the Apollo missions, there was a tin can.
Yeah.
I can't say enough good things about First Man. If you haven't seen the movie First Man, check that out. It's all about Neil Armstrong and those early Apollo missions. And it really is it was nuts and bolts and wood holding these things together, and hope to God that all this TNT makes me go to the moon. Like, oh my God. So now with new technology, we're obviously trying to make a more comfortable experience, for space travel. Because why not? I mean, we're fans of Star Wars and Star Trek. I mean, everything looks way easier in that.
Don't lump me into that Star Wars nonsense.
Baloney. So this is actually a look at the cockpit, and I do have a third and final video for this segment actually that depicts what it actually is like if you're in the Crew Dragon.
Is that a Tesla commercial? Felt like a Tesla commercial, right?
I mean, it's sleek, it's futuristic, it's exactly where space exploration should be going.
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
I mean, gone are the days of switches and dials and things. Like, we have this kind of technology now. So, I mean, what you got to see there, it's got the cockpit itself. It has 4 windows, so passengers can take in views of Earth and the moon and space as they're traveling, and the solar system, and then the seats that they're sitting in. They're the highest grade carbon fiber. Yeah, and a lot more comfortable than the iron bucket of the Apollo missions, or even the space shuttle. The Crew Dragon features an emergency escape system to swiftly carry the astronauts to safety if something were to go wrong. This was tested in 2015.
Does it make little pods?
Yeah, well, it basically separates the actual cockpit from everything in case everything goes wrong, and then you can get back to Earth. And it also dampens the G-force. So they're saying that you'll only experience the G's of being on a ride at Disneyland, which is nice. Crew Dragon's displays will provide real-time information on state-of-the-art like displays, which is really, really cool. Anything from the Dragon's position in space to possible destinations to the environment on board. And again, I mean, we live in this technological age. Let's put the technology in place with our astronauts and not have them work on 1970s stuff anymore.
Stop using duct tape, people.
Exactly. The environmental control and life support system actually provides a comfortable and safe environment for crew members during their trip. They can set their interior temperature between 65 and 80 degrees if they like.
It's a Tesla.
Which is crazy. Yeah, we've never had that kind of thing before.
That's crazy.
And finally, the Crew Dragon will be fully autonomous spacecraft that can also be monitored and controlled by onboard astronauts and SpaceX mission control. And that's normal. Because, I mean, even back in the days of Apollo, the G's that were hitting the astronauts, you could move your arm and hit a button if you needed to, but why go through the stress? A lot of it was automated until they were in space.
Right.
And it'll be the same thing where a lot of this will be automated, but in the case of something that they need to, they can take over the reins and take control, no problem. Or it can be taken control remotely from mission control.
Makes sense.
At SpaceX.
Probably voice commands. Who knows? Hey, Siri, please get me out of this fucking thing.
Exactly. And not only that, they're also designing new spacesuits, which is really cool to integrate new technology.
And we've talked about that on the show
before,
too.
I mean, if you look at the spacesuits that like Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin had on the moon, big and bulky, and they had a little bit more mobility with their hands, but not much, to the point where, they had readouts a little bit on their arm and on their chest, but it was very much Darth Vader. Whereas now they're going to have like a touch screen, and their gloves will be
sleek and light all around. Very kind of cool. I mean, it looks like it will perfectly match the interior of this capsule.
Yeah. And I'm very excited for it, guys. This is, like I said,
it's the future, man.
This is history in the making. The first astronaut crew has been training nonstop for this since they'd been announced last year. In just a few short weeks, we get the test run of the Crew Dragon, and then, fingers crossed, everything goes well, and in April, Crew Dragon with crew, and we're going to talk about it here on Fueled by Deathcast.
Good. It is a fully operational Death Star of the week.
All right, guys, I know I sound like a broken record, but if you are not a fan or a friend of the official Death Wish Coffee Company community page over on Facebook, get on it, because there are a lot of awesome people loving coffee, loving Death Wish, and loving just being part of that community, and I try to make you meet one every single week. So if you've never met Rob Costello, you're going to meet him right now. Thanks for joining me today, Rob, on the Death Star segment. I'm going to start like I always do. I want to know, when did you hear about Death Wish Coffee, either the coffee, the company? How did you come to know about us?
So it was early, like in 2014, when the company, I think when it first started up. I'm ex-Navy. I'm always walking around with my hand like this with a coffee cup in my hand.
Yeah.
And I saw an ad somewhere for the coffee. So I said, hey, I'd send away for some. I got their product. I was big into K-Cups at that time because my job requires me in and out all the time. So it makes it quick. And it was just amazing. So I stuck with it since the beginning time.
That's awesome. I just want to take a second and say thank you very much for your service. You said you're retired?
Yeah, I'm retired Navy.
Very, very. It's good to be retired. One day I'll be there as well.
Well, I retired for about a day. I'm still working. So.
Yeah, I hear that. I know everybody in the Navy I know is drinking a lot of coffee. How much coffee do you drink a day?
Oh, dear God. I would say probably about 8 to 10 cups a day.
Nice.
Morning, noon, and night. Doesn't really matter. It doesn't hamper my sleep. It doesn't hamper my performance. So.
Very cool. Very cool. What's your and outside of the Keurig, like you mentioned, what would be your other go-to brew method?
Oh, a little while back, one of the site members introduced me to Chemex, and that is just, that's my go-to.
Yeah.
Whether it's morning and I have a few extra minutes, or weekends, that's where I go through. And then anything I have left over, I save. I do iced coffee with that. Just amazing.
Yeah, I finally caved in and got one myself, and yeah, when you have that extra time, it's the best. It really is the best cup of coffee.
Yeah, it is amazing.
And I see him behind you, so I don't even have to ask that you are a mug collector. What was the first mug that you got that was a Death Wish coffee mug?
I think probably the original back in 2014. I think they call it OG now.
Yeah.
Some mugs have come and gone over the years. The great thing about it is everybody likes different things in mugs. Some that I find, are really cool, maybe just the more mundane. Other people, something they really like, I'm not too crazy about. So there's a lot of trading and, back and forth going with the mugs. But that was the original one. Then I moved on to a couple more, the shot glasses, through Larry, and again, up to present day.
Awesome. Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, it's got to be the Yeti. That's my favorite between the blue color, the medallion. That one, in my mind, just stands out. So that's my favorite overall.
Yeah, I have a soft spot in my heart for that one as well. So finally, we get to this question, which I always love to hear. You've been a fan of the company since 2014, like you said. So you've seen us go to the Super Bowl. You've seen us go to space and beyond. You've seen all the different things we've done, the mugs, the merchandise, everything else. Is there something that we haven't tried yet that you'd like to see us try?
No, I think I've got to pile on with a lot of other people. I think I'd like to see the Lady Liberty mug, or at least something that reflects some of the kick butt women we have out there in the community.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in red or pink. Maybe for Labor Day, a skeleton Rosie the Riveter, or something along those lines. Pay homage to the women out there.
Yeah.
Something is probably in a bright color too.
What was that last thing you said?
Probably something in a bright color.
Yeah. Well, we've been working with Deneen Pottery, like and we've been trying to get them to go out of their comfort zone with glazes. So hopefully we've got some brighter stuff, some crazier stuff coming this year. And I can tell you that you might have hit some nails on the head there. We've got some surprises in the works for this year. And some mugs that are, all I'm going to say, some mugs that are going to make not only the community at large very happy, but definitely the women of the community are going to be pretty happy this year, I think, with some of our mug choices. So I'm very excited for those to come out throughout 2019.
That's awesome. I'll start saving my money.
Awesome. Good. Me too, actually. As always, I cannot thank you enough for taking time out of your day to talk with me on the Death Star. It was a pleasure to meet you. And again, thank you very much for your service.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Welcome back to the show.
Okay, one final time, guys. If you haven't yet and you're watching this show live, make sure you share the show on Facebook and drop a comment in those comments. One lucky comment will win this 2019 Lumberjack Death Wish coffee mug. Demon and myself will sign it and send it right out to you. That lucky comment will be picked right after the show. So it's super easy. That's all you got to do. And I wanted to take a second right now to talk about this week's podcast guest, pop culture artist Rob Pryor. We're going to have a sneak peek of tomorrow's podcast episode a little bit later in this show. But right now, I wanted to take a moment and just tell you about how much fun Dustin and I have when we get to moderate a panel with Rob. We've done it now twice, once at a Walker Stalker and once at a Heroes and Villains convention, and both times it's the same deal. Rob makes a crazy awesome playlist about 10 seconds before he hits the stage, and then he gets on stage and literally creates an incredible piece of artwork with both hands right in front of your face, and it's so much fun to be a part of that.
It's crazy to watch it unfold too, because as soon as he starts, you're like, he's just doing random shit.
Yeah.
And then as it unfolds and as he really starts to put layers on it, you're like, wow, this is a masterpiece done in 45 minutes. It's really intense.
So I've got a short clip of kind of our experience, what it would be like to be in the audience and see him perform live, because if you ever get the chance, you really should. Just note that he does perform to some really kick-ass hip-hop and metal music, but I don't have the rights for any of that, so that's not going to be in this clip. But check out how awesome it is to see Rob live.
I smell a roast.
Does it smell like a rodent?
It does smell like a rodent. If you guys, man, so February is right around the corner, and February 2nd is that holiday that is weird and celebrated now by so many people, and that is Groundhog Day. We all know that this exists thanks to the movie, but it exists. Why? Why does it exist? So in our vein of when we're on the roast and we're, kind of learning about holidays, and especially roasting holidays that are silly,
ones, yeah.
I figured why not go down into it. So it derives from the Pennsylvania Dutch superstition that if a groundhog emerging from its burrow on this day sees a shadow due to clear weather, it will retreat into its den, and winter will persist for 6 more weeks. Where if it doesn't see a shadow because it's cloudy, spring will arrive early.
Is that actually the case?
That is actually the case.
If it sees its shadow, it's like, all right, we're good.
No, if it sees its shadow, winter for 6 more weeks.
Okay, and
if it doesn't see its shadow,
it's like it's cool to come out now?
Yes.
And they actually do this.
They actually do this.
That's weird.
It's super weird. So, while the tradition remains popular, studies have found no consistent correlation between the groundhog seeing its shadow and the arrival of winter or spring.
Oh, weird. You mean this rodent isn't predicting the weather? That's so strange. I wouldn't have thought that was the case at all.
This is first reported as news of Groundhog Day observance in 1886 in the Punxsutawney Spirit newspaper of Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, where they actually wrote in the paper, up to the time of going to press, the beast has not seen its shadow. We just lost D-Man. Where'd you go? Oh, yeah. I got one of these hoodies, too, straight out of Punxsutawney. Because D-Man and myself experienced this firsthand, which we're going to get to in a minute. I did find out, though, that it was not an official holiday until the following year in 1887 when townspeople in Punxsutawney went to the now famous Gobbler's Knob, and which is the most unfortunate
Was it named Gobbler's Knob?
It really was. It really was because a
God.
knob is a type of hilly area, and the guy's name was literally like John Gobbler or whatever it was.
My God.
That's why they named it that. But I mean, yeah, it's
His
definitely
guy's name was Knob Gobbler.
Yeah, it's definitely an unfortunate name.
Or fortunate. Depending.
The largest Groundhog Day celebration in anywhere is in Punxsutawney. It has had crowds up to 40,000 people at one time. The average draw usually is around it was around 2,000 people or so until the movie in 1993, and then it ballooned into about 10,000 to 40,000 people.
And I mean, they do hours of dancing and fireworks.
It's insanity. But Punxsutawney's not the only place that does this, which is Punxsutawney's the famous place. There is a groundhog celebration in New York City. The groundhog's name is Dunkirk Dave. I'm sorry, the groundhog in New York City is Staten Island Chuck. I'm sorry about that.
Wow.
Dunkirk Dave is a groundhog in Western New York.
You think you would have called him Staten Island Stan or something?
I know, right? The funny thing about the one in Western New York is he is a stuffed groundhog that they do this with.
It was alive once. And
yes,
now
it's a taxidermy one.
rough.
They also do that in Washington, D.C. The DuPont Circle Groundhog Day group, they have an event every Groundhog Day in Washington, D.C. where Potomac Phil comes out, the taxidermy groundhog, to look for his shadow. Although they have a nice, because it's Washington, D.C., they have a nice little spin on it. And if it sees its shadow, it means there's going to be 6 more months of political gridlock.
This is
because
so weird,
everything's
Jeff.
in
I'm
political.
so weirded out by all this.
In French Canada, Fred Lamarmette has been the representative forecaster for the province of Quebec since 2009. Which is pretty crazy because a lot of the areas around there still celebrate the ancient tradition of Candlemas. And
I don't know what that is.
they have weather predicting beasts centered around this ancient holiday.
You mean more than just a groundhog?
It's usually the bear.
Oh.
Yeah. In 2017, Groundhog Day was scheduled to be observed at zoos in Moscow and St. Petersburg in Russia. And just a little bit on Candlemas. Candlemas is a primarily Catholic festival, but also German Protestant. And it's a folk religion that is linked with literally weather prediction around animals. Bears and foxes predominantly, but then when they started to die out, especially in like Siberia, they moved to smaller rodents.
How are we going to tell the weather with all the animals there? I don't know. Pick a different
man.
fucking animal, dude.
So throughout the years, in Punxsutawney at least, the Inner Circle has come out every single year to preside over the festivities and whether or not Punxsutawney Phil sees his shadow or not. And there has been, so says by National Geographic, he has a 28% accuracy rating.
Wow. Wow, that's worse than flipping a coin.
Yeah. The movie came out in 1993. And that not only made the holiday much more celebrated, but it made the town much more celebrated. And in 2017, Dustin and myself did go down to Punxsutawney along with Mike Brown and John Swedish of Death Wish Coffee. And you can relive all of that on episode 9 of Fueled by Deathcast. I'll put that link up in here. But I wanted to just tell you how absolutely insane it is. We showed up the day before, and this town probably boasts maybe 1,000 people live there.
Yeah,
maybe.
I mean, you got to think at this point, you're in the Midwest.
Yeah,
we're not in Kansas anymore, Toto. It's very like all the towns around Punxsutawney are like weird Amish.
We went through a half hour of horse-drawn carriages.
Yeah,
like before we made it to Punxsutawney, and you make it to Punxsutawney, and there's a big sign that says the weather capital of the world, which is wrong. But I mean, a big groundhog on the sign and everything, and they go hard for this because again, a town of barely 1,000 residents is now hosting upwards of tens of thousands of people.
I mean, they have a car wash that's like the Phil's Car Wash.
Yeah.
And every single business has a groundhog somewhere on their door or their window or in their name, and there's groundhogs all over the town.
Yeah.
And that's like all they have.
It's insanity. So we went, and that night we went to like the main bar in town. And if you're a fan of the Bill Murray movie, one of the things he learns for being stuck in the movie for so long is he learns how to play the piano.
Yeah.
And they had 2 guys dueling piano at this bar playing all the songs from the movie, which was great. Mike Brown himself dressed up as Ned Ryerson.
You have a picture of that, right?
Yeah, I'll put that picture up in
good.
here. You and I dressed up as dueling Bill Murrays.
Right, because what else would you do?
Because why not? And we actually got to talk to some of the Inner Circle. Now, these are the guys with the top hats that like preside over all of this. We talked to, and I forgot their names until I re-listened to the episode, the chief health man who had inherited this position from his father who had held it for 49 years. The Thunder Conductor.
Right, the
that
Thunder
guy?
Conductor. I remember that dude.
The Thunder Conductor was the guy who gets up and gets the crowd animated and gets going.
He was funny.
And the Ozone. We met the Ozone.
Right.
Which I still don't even know what the Ozone is. But he was a really nice dude. And these guys get up there. So we went out and partied with these guys, right? Until like probably 12 or 1 in the morning.
Hey, it might have been later, and they party hard, by the way.
Then we went back to our where we were staying, and you guys went to sleep. I stayed up cutting this episode together because it had to hit the airwaves in the morning. And then at 3:30, 4 o'clock, we trekked up to Gobbler's Knob.
Freezing.
Cold, so cold.
I remember
February 2nd.
My feet were so cold.
Yeah, with literally tens of thousands of people, and they're blaring pop music, and there's Irish dancers, and people are screaming and yelling. The Thunder Conductor came out dressed as Prince and did a whole Prince song.
Forgot about that.
And then fireworks, one of the greatest fireworks displays I've ever seen.
I know, it was like next level fireworks.
All the news channels are there, all the weather channels are there, like presiding over this, and on the episode 9 of Fueled by Deathcast, we literally had the recorder going as they called it, and you'll have to tune in and find out if there was winter that year or not.
Terrible.
But we had that all going, and it was probably, I don't know, 8, 9 in the morning when we finally came down from Gobbler's Knob, went back into the town, got some breakfast from this breakfast gun.
The breakfast gun.
Which is a giant gun-shaped grill that smoked out the barrel. It was great. We got breakfast sandwiches there.
It was good.
And I went to bed. I was up for almost 40 hours straight. That was crazy. I will never do it again, but it was an incredible experience. It was one of the first experiences we ever had taking this show on the road.
By the way, we hired Jeff after this whole thing.
I wasn't even working for the company full time at that point. Yeah, that's right. I think I proved to Mike like I can hang at that moment.
If you can hang in Punxsutawney, you can hang anywhere.
Woo, so I definitely recommend you guys go check that out. I'll be posting that on.
Check out the episode.
Yeah, I'll be
Don't
reposting that for a
Punxsutawney.
second.
Save yourself a trip.
Yeah, celebrate this year's Groundhog Day by listening to our episode and watching that hilarious movie with Bill Murray. Because not only on our episode do we start the episode with our own version of the Rise and Shine Campers.
I love that. It's my favorite
The radio
part.
guys.
It's terrible.
But we also, on the science segment, go down exactly the science of how long Bill Murray was actually in a time loop.
I forgot about that,
Which
yeah.
was a lot of fun. So, I mean, it's one of those weird traditions that you'd think you'd only hear about when we're talking about holidays. Like if we were talking about February holidays, be like, there's this random, old Germanic folklore tradition called Groundhog Day that nobody celebrates anymore. Nope, it's a humongous thing every year. In fact, they also celebrate it, you found this out, in the town in Chicago,
right,
where they filmed a lot of the movie.
I want to
they
go
didn't
to it.
film it all in Punxsutawney.
It's like right outside of Chicago. I think it was in a town called Woodstock.
Yeah, so they filmed it there because
Woodstock, Illinois.
Yeah, they could. It was the town was better set up, for movie studios and stuff like that. And they filmed.
And it wasn't Punxsutawney,
yeah, it wasn't
Pennsylvania.
Punxsutawney. So they filmed it there, and they celebrate every year there Groundhog Day, but more the movie side of it.
Yeah,
which is hilarious.
I want to check that out sometime.
We should sometime.
I want to go to
Maybe
the
next
diner.
year.
I want to go to like all the places that you see in the movie.
Yeah.
Because none of those exist in
Oh.
Punxsutawney.
My gosh,
Woo.
so crazy. So happy Groundhog Day, everybody! It's now February 2019.
Oh boy,
crazy.
D-Man's Death Wish Update. Brought to you by Death Wish Coffee.
All right, D-Man. So tomorrow, we talked about it last week. It's here. Tomorrow, our brand new Death Wish jacket. I have one right back here if you want to show it.
Oh, model time.
Yeah. This is our worker's jacket, or as I saw in the comments on last week's show, a mechanic's jacket.
Oh, shit.
And it's really great. Cotton and nylon. Very durable. It's got our industrial logo on the back, the skull and crossbones on the front, and the awesome little red tab on the hood. Perfect for cold weather. Perfect for working out in the garage.
By the way.
Yeah,
that's a real deal.
Really nice. Really well made. And it's just another one of those pieces of merchandise I just love being able to give out to you guys. And it's available tomorrow. It definitely won't sell out immediately, but we do have a limited number for some sizes of it.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, there's only 500 jackets in total,
right.
So that could go pretty quickly.
So get on it if you're looking for it, and like we've said before, discounted death for 12% off.
Oh shit!
Yeah, you can use that too. But I'm always excited to let you guys know when new merchandise is about to hit, and this is just that time. Speaking of, last week on the update, we showed you a mysterious video that you've probably seen a couple times now on Facebook Live and on stuff like that showed our this incredible artist, Scott Minzy, creating this piece of art. And I will put this up in full view so you guys can really get a good look at this. But this is the art on our St. Patrick's Day mug that we're coming out with this year. Now, this is coming up quick because if you guys follow us and you know what we do, we're going to do a golden ticket first. And that golden ticket day is going to be only a couple weeks before the actual release. And we're going to release this so you'll be able to order it in time for St. Patrick's Day so you can do the math. It's coming quick. We're really excited about this. It's so different and such an interesting, image to have on there. Oh, and also, by the way, if you order on that golden ticket day, you're going to get a free patch with that on there as well.
Damn.
But I wanted to tell you a little bit of the backstory because we were racking our brains as what we could do for St. Patrick's Day this year. We've done a leprechaun. We've done an Irish punk band. We've done, all sorts of different ideas for St. Patrick's Day in the past. We wanted to switch it up this year. And this is a Irish folklore with a monster right there. And this monster is called Cuirhanach. And I will actually put that up here because it does not look like that is the way that you say that.
Yeah.
But it's Cuirhanach.
Good old Celtic language.
This is the Celtic fire spitter known as the mother of the devil.
There you go.
And she was, as lore goes, she was birthed and hatched inside the molten core of the earth when the earth was made. And then all of her spawn kind of started to infiltrate the earth through eons, and a lot of times they're depicted as snakes.
Yep.
And fast forward to about, the early days of the Irish Isles, and people were sick of her and her demon spawn. They
who
were,
wouldn't be?
all the folklore that involves the devil. He's a trickster. He's bad luck. It's not a good time to have your path crossed with the devil or subsequently his mom. So around 400 AD, when who would become St. Patrick, actually came back to Ireland. When he was 16, he was captured by pirates and sold into slavery, and then escaped, and then went to France and studied to become a minister under the Pope.
Okay.
And wanted to go back to Ireland, his hometown, and rid them of evil.
Yeah.
So he went back and was like, he prayed to God to let God know, how can I get rid of Cuirhanach and all of her demon? And God told him that she resided in this cave in this place called Lough-Derg, which actually means dark lake. And the cave was technically a portal to hell.
Oh.
So he went on. So as the story goes, St. Patrick went on top of this high mountain overlooking where this lake was, where the cave would have been, and he invoked all the powers he possibly could to drive all the evil out of Ireland. And you've probably heard this story before because, as it goes, he drove all the snakes out of Ireland. And that was him driving the evil. But the largest evil was Cuirhanach. And she kind of dug her claws into it. So he went into this pitched battle with her for 2 days and 2 nights until she finally started to run away from him. And he followed her. And she was spitting fire behind her, and he was stabbing her with his
Have you
swords and stuff.
seen this or something?
It's in that. It's
Okay,
there,
okay.
right there.
Got it.
And finally got her down to the point where he banished her to hell. And some tellings of this tale, he defeated her completely, never to be seen again. But some tellings, she still waits at the mouth of this cave to be reborn one day, because evil's never really vanquished in those old stories, But we thought, what's a cool frickin' story to depict? So Scott Minzy is an incredible artist, and he created this original piece of artwork depicting St. Patrick fighting Cuirhanach for our St. Patrick's Day mug.
Cool.
It's pretty rad.
Hell yeah.
So get ready for that, guys. It's coming out really, really soon. And finally, something really fun. We've talked about it. It's finally going to happen. We've got pictures and video to prove it. The Death Wish Truck 2.0.
The Deathmobile.
The Deathmobile. This thing is incredible. Over 28 feet long. We're going to be able to roll up anywhere, serve hot coffee, serve cold coffee, serve any type of coffee.
There's a Slayer espresso machine.
Not the
in this
band,
thing.
although if Slayer did make espresso machines, we would definitely have that one too. But the Slayer espresso machine is actually the top of the line espresso machine.
You don't get any better.
So you want a shot of espresso, you want a latte, you want whatever you want. We'll be able to do it out of this truck with Death Wish coffee. And when we get our cold brew, we'll be able to serve our cold brew out of this coffee as well, or out of this truck as well. And there's a separate side in this truck for merchandise. We're going to have a merch window. We're going to be able to sell our hats, our shirts, our mugs, whatever the heck we feel like. Maybe little versions of the truck. Who knows?
There we go. Perfect. Yeah, little Hot Wheels.
Little Hot Wheels of the truck.
How do we get that made?
I don't know. I guess I just keep yelling at Thomas until he makes it.
Okay, let's both yell together.
Yeah. But we're really excited about this, and we've got a blog that is going to detail a lot of these photos and video that I'm showing you as we're talking about it. And it's also going to ask you where you'd like to see us show up, because we've got this big, beautiful truck. It's basically a coffee shop on wheels. Where do we go with it? I mean, the obvious answer is where we've taken our truck version 1.0 the last couple of years, and that is New York Comic-Con. We post that thing right outside of the Javits Center in New York City and serve coffee samples to the masses, and that's been a lot of fun. We actually missed it last year. So I'm almost can say with 100% certainty you'll probably see this truck there. But this is a pretty big country.
Yeah.
I think there's some really cool places that we could go with this truck.
Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania.
No. Although they did have food trucks there.
Yeah, they did. It'd be interesting.
But yeah, let us know, let us know in the comments of the show, but definitely I'm going to put up a link to that blog. Go on over to that blog and let us know where you'd like to see this truck show up, because God, I can't wait. We're going to get, as soon as we get it, we're going to get trained on all the ins and outs of it and how to use it. And we're going to hit the ground running with it. It's going to be a lot of fun to do events, because
Can't wait.
A lot of times, especially with Death Wish Coffee, we show up at an event like Pirates, and we're like, oh, you've only given us 6 feet to work in, and we have 70 pallets worth of stuff. We're going to make this work, and we do. We almost always make it work, and we make an amazing event out of it. But to have 30 feet of steel and coffee just rolling into wherever we want, that's a nice thing. I'm excited to.
I'm excited too.
I'm
man.
excited to be able to because really when it comes down to it, wherever we go, it's a party.
Are you excited to drive it?
No.
No, I'm not.
No.
either.
In fact, I'm gonna forget. I'm gonna rip up my license
I
and
know,
forget how to
right?
drive. But no, I'm excited to work it. I'll definitely be that guy in the window for sure. I can't wait for that.
Who's that Jeff in the window?
That's me. But yeah, it'll be coming hopefully to your town this year. Just let us know. And that's all we're gonna say on the update. Got some new stuff for you next week. You're gonna have to tune in to find out. And as always, I want to thank you guys for watching the show, for sharing, for liking, for commenting. I do want to take a time and remind you, tune in tomorrow everywhere podcasts are found, including YouTube and right here on Facebook, for episode 111 of Fueled by Deathcast with our friend and guest, artist Rob Pryor. And there he is, literally creating 2 paintings at once. It's crazy. We talked to him about so many cool things he's doing this year and what he's done in his career as an artist and as a sculptor and a visual effects guy and a director and a musician. And it's just the list goes on and on. What an interesting thing to get into, not just visual art, but art in general. He wants to create, and he'll do whatever it takes to create things. So I have a sneak peek of tomorrow's episode 111, with Rob Pryor right here.
I just went and painted in Africa, and I set 2 paintings up, and I did 2 paintings at one time.
I wanted to ask you about that. So how did that come to be? You going out to Africa to do painting?
There is a group called Edge, and they're protecting elephants and rhinos and teaching village kids. You don't have to go out and be a poacher. You actually have things you can do. So I went out and I not only painted in the wild, which was so fucking intense.
I bet.
Because hold on, I'll give you a story.
Okay.
But I also was teaching, village kids, that they could paint. And the question I got from most of them is, wow, there's other things we can do? And I was like, absolutely. You can do anything you want to do if you want to do it bad enough. Yeah. So I got to do that. But there was one point that I was drinking with some of the rangers, because I was always surrounded by rangers when I would paint.
Where in Africa was this again?
Kruger Park,
okay.
South Africa.
Yep. Okay.
And it looks like, by the way, I might be going back to Africa with the BBC to do a documentary.
Oh wow!
So yeah, it's shaping up more and more daily. Wow. But I was back and I was drinking with the rangers, and I'm at the end of a driveway, and I heard this whimpering, and I turn around and it's a fucking hyena. Now, how I pictured a hyena and what I saw were two different things. I'm picturing this little dog thing from like Lion King, and they're like, yip, yip, yip. That thing was like chest high and easily the width of my shoulders, if not more. And I mean, it sloped down to. I mean, it's a really ridiculous looking animal. But I was like, okay, this is how I die. All right, cool.
And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Finally, one more time, if you guys could take a second and follow us on social media, it would be greatly appreciated. I am at Jeff Wish Coffee.
And I am at Death Wish Dustin.
And follow the show, follow the podcast everywhere, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Fueled by Deathcast. Please like, comment, share our content. We really want to grow this entire Fueled by Death community, and we want you to be a part of it. I had a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of fun next week. So goodbye until then, and we'll see you guys next week with a brand new show.
Cheers.